I now call to order the November 14th, 2022 meeting of the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees at 6 p.m. Let the minutes show that a quorum is present with all members in attendance. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Ms. Sharp and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag by Mr. Turner.
Work to honor God at the back. Bless our back. The flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, there'll be no action taken on items 2 and 3. We're waiting on the Montgomery County Election Department. Item 4 on the agenda is recognitions. Miss Kelly, you're up first.
One last slide. All right. Thank you for having us. This is always a very special moment to recognize our amazing people. And I always say how amazing my staff is. And so I am just really thrilled tonight to get to honor them. We're going to start with Miss Carla Ferreira. Carla Ferreira is our teacher that we are recognizing tonight. Miss Ferreira is in her 14th year of teaching, and it's been all in New Caney, all at Ben's Branch Elementary. She is our 3rd grade Spanish dual language teacher. There's not a single moment wasted when I enter her classroom. She always teaches bell to bell. She builds amazing relationships with her students, and every time I stop by, the students are always eager to tell me what they are doing in her classroom. When it comes to doing learning walks and observations, not only do my staff ask to come and see what she's doing in her classroom, but I have other teachers from other campuses. The principals will call me and say, could my teachers please come see Miss Ferreira's class? So that in itself is an honor. And I'm just so blessed to have her. She's an excellent, her classroom is excellent model for the dual language classroom of what it should look like. And her students are truly blessed to have her just like I am. So congratulations, Miss Ferreira. Thank you for being our teacher that we are recognizing tonight. Next up, I have Miss Brittany Sweet. Brittany Sweet is our para. Brittany, this is her 2nd year with us, so it was a really unique situation. We hired her through word of mouth, and talk about somebody who is flexible. She is amazing. She started out as our para, our Title I para. Well, then we had some movement happen, and so I went to her and I was like, could you please step in and be the ICS para for the remaining time until we find somebody for that spot? So she graciously did that. And then this year we put her back in as Title I para, and then we had another little switcheroo. And once again, I was like, Brittany, can you please help out in this manner? And she did. So we do have her back in her original spot again, hopefully permanently. But Brittany, she's just her work ethic, her dedication. She's always flexible, loves the kids, and she is currently working on her teaching certificate. So while she's working hard for us during the day, she's continuing her education in the evenings. So I'm very, very excited to honor her this evening. So congratulations, Brittany. Next up is my sweet little Zoe Rivera. She is our student that we are recognizing. Miss Zoe, she is a 4th grade student in our dual language program. You should have seen her reaction when I called her into the office. She was so scared. And I was like, Zoe, it's something good. And she just had this sigh of relief. So when I told her what we were doing and how we wanted to recognize her, the look on her face was just priceless. She was so appreciative. And so I got to ask her, I was like, what is important to you? And she was like, my education. And I was like, well, what's your favorite subject? And she goes, reading for sure. So couldn't ask for a better model student. She's passionate about reading. She loves writing. She always comes to school with a positive mindset and is dedicated to giving her best at all times. Her teachers could not say enough about her and how amazing she is with them, her work ethic in the classroom, and to other students. Zoe is an honor roll student, and she also participated in UIL with creative writing. And so Ben's Branch did really, really well this Saturday with that. So congratulations, Zoe. We are very proud of you. All right, my custodian. I would like to recognize Miss Catalina Velasquez. She is our head custodian. And oh my gosh, such a joy and a sweet lady to work for. We keep each other laughing all the time. I'm a go-getter, just like she's a go-getter, and she'll be doing things, and I feel bad when I have to come to her and say, Miss Catalina, we have to move the cafeteria tables, and then we need to move them back, and then we need to do this, and we need to do that. And so I feel guilty when I ask her, so I'm in there, and I'm trying to help. Well, it's obvious I probably make more of a problem than I am helping, and she, in a very kind way, said, Miss Kelly, I've got this, you don't worry. So she shushes me out. But talk about somebody that takes pride in our campus. She's always there to help our staff members. She wants to make sure that our campus is clean and safe. And again, amazing, amazing custodian. And I just love her. So congratulations, Miss Catalina. Thank you. And last but not least, we have our cafeteria staff that I want to recognize. Brandy Ellum. She's very shy and quiet. So I just love it because she just kind of looked at me like, really? You're picking me? Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Miss Ellum, you've been with us since 2017. She rarely misses work. She's always willing to help however needed. She takes pride in her work and is always willing to learn. And anytime I come into the cafeteria and I'm like, hi ladies, can I have your help with this or can y'all do this? It's always with a smile. She greets the students enjoy her, and we just appreciate your dedication and what you do for us at our campus. So I greatly, greatly appreciate you. So again, thank you. These are my wonderful ladies at Ben's Branch Elementary.
Good evening. We are very excited. At Brookwood Forest, we are blessed because our staff is just magical and amazing. And it was really hard to choose, but it came down to, to this outstanding staff member. The student that we choose to be tonight, unfortunately, there's the flu going around, so she's absent, but we're going to celebrate her back at school. But I want to start right here with Miss Daniels, Miss Iris Daniels. She's part of our cafeteria crew, and she's amazing. She has been in the district since 2006. She's a very dedicated employee with a great attendance, and she has a heart for child nutrition. And the way she talks to each of her students when they are on the line, how she cares, those pre-Kers going there and they don't know what they want to eat, and she's like, she's so patient, and we want to honor. We're blessed to have her in our building because she does make a difference on each of those childs every day when they go through the line on the cafeteria. So Miss Iris, thank you so much. We want to recognize you.
Thank you so much.
Next we have Miss Young Victoria. It's our teacher. She's currently teacher. She has been working in our district since 2013, and she has been at Brookwood since the school opened. She is one of the most dedicated employees at our school. Her attendance is exemplary, and she is the teacher that always keep up with her students through the years. During the fifth grade COVID parade, she had her students' pictures from all previous years on the posters, and she goes above and beyond. She works hard at school, and she also volunteers for the community. And recently, she happened to volunteer with her church, and it happened to be one of her staff members' family that she had no idea that she was there. So her heart and her vocation to serve, it's in everything that she does, and that's why we want to recognize her tonight. And we have Miss Maria Valenzuela. She's our new head of custodian at our campus this year, and she has done an outstanding job. Miss Maria, she never has come to my office with a problem. She always has a solution. She's like, we're sure, however, this is what we're doing. And, this happened, however, this is what we're doing. And she always keep up with my challenge. And, again, when we have to move things and move rooms and all this stuff, but she always does it with a smile and with a very positive attitude. She's new to our campus this year, and she takes care of everything, make sure our campus is, top of the line in there. Thank you, Miss Maria. Mr. Ron, it's our paraprofessional for our RISE program, and he has been in our school since last year. I also call him the ninja paraprofessional because the way he goes from one side to the other, but more than that, he's there to serve and help with all of our students. We have been working really hard on creating a culture that any of those kids, they belong to us. And Mr. Ron goes above and beyond to make sure that his students feel supported, but also anybody else in the school that needs the help. He also participates. We just have the trunk or treat, and he went after school dressed as a bus lighting with his wife dressed up too, and they were all, having fun and making sure they have a good and positive impact on the community in New Caney. So thank you, Mr. Ron. And that's all for tonight. So we're gonna go.
All right, up next is Miss Coronado.
Okay, thank you for having us here tonight and giving us this opportunity to recognize a few of our wonderful people at Valley Ranch Elementary. The The first person I want to recognize is Paula Chapman. She is one of our custodians that does the work of 20. Paula always has a smile on her face. She gives 110% in everything that she does. And at the beginning of the year, as excited as the kids are to find out who their teacher's going to be, the teachers are excited to find out if Paula is going to have their section. So she has a smile on her face no matter what's going on in her personal life. She's there. She picks up extra shifts. We had to make sure she came over tonight because she's like, I've got to be there. And we're like, no, give us a few minutes to come over here and recognize you. So, Miss Paula Chapman. So our theme this year at Valley Ranch is Learning is Sweet. And so they're all getting a Jolly Rancher because they're Jolly Ranchers, get it? And so anyways, that's why we gave them that. The next person I wanted to recognize is not here tonight. She unfortunately has the flu as well. That's Dana Milkovic. We call her Miss Dana. She works in our cafeteria, always has a smile, hears the students' voices, lets them give her their choices of what they want, makes them feel welcomed, and always, gets them everything that they need before they go through the line. She shows them patience and kindness every single day. She comes to work supporting everyone that she works with and everyone that enters the cafeteria doors. She helps our new employees feel welcomed and comfortable. She shows great pride in all of her work and encourages them to be healthy in all of their choices. And our students just love to get their lunch and their smiles from Miss Dana. So we're very blessed to have her as well. The paraeducator that we would like to recognize tonight is Priska Jacobo. Priska is our EL para, but she's more than that to us. Priska steps in to help with anything, and I mean anything, that we ask her to do. She's always willing to jump into a classroom, cover a duty spot, get kids from one place to another, help with lessons. Whatever we ask, she's giving it her all and always there for us with a smile on her face. She's a huge impact on our students, and we're very lucky to have her. The teacher that I want to recognize is our second grade teacher, Miss Lauren Rodriguez. This is her third year teaching, and she's definitely living her calling. She has a natural ability as a teacher, and the joy of learning is in her classroom every day. Lauren can transform her room to look like Disney World, and the kids just have a magical time every single day. She researches and learns new things, never takes no for an answer, or if something's not working, she will work to find something that will help the children be successful. I know she is the type of teacher that the kids will remember when they look back at their elementary years as one of their favorites. Miss Lauren. And last but not least, we want to recognize our student, Raul Hernandez. Raul is a third grade student that's been recognized as a standout student by several staff members around our campus. He loves to ride his bike and play sports. He dreams of playing football for the Houston Texans. I told him they probably needed him. His favorite subject is math. He is a sweet boy, so helpful in so many ways. But one thing that really stood out, he took upon himself. He has a classmate that's in a wheelchair. And every morning when this child comes into the classroom, Raul helps the child get the footing straight, get the desk situated, helps with breakfast, open the items, and get everything going, and then gets the work all set up so that the student can be successful. And I asked him, why do you do this? Like, was this a job that was assigned to you by your teacher? And he said, no, I just wanted to help my friend. And I said, well, tell me a little bit more about that. And he said, well, I learned it from my mom. And my mom told me that everybody needs extra help every now and then. And if you're in a wheelchair, sometimes you can't do everything that someone else could. But if you get a little extra support, you can be just as successful. And I just thought that was so heartwarming. So Raul, you are a perfect example of the little things that you do, how they make a huge impact on someone, and people recognize that in you. So congratulations. We're very proud of you.
Five on the agenda is consideration of out-of-state trip for New Caney High School cheer, presented by Mr. Holt.
Good evening. Raul, after that game yesterday, the Cowboys may need you too. So, all right. Well, good evening. We're here today. Got some wonderful young ladies with me. We're asking for you to consider approving our cheer trip to Disney World in the spring. They qualified for nationals a few weeks ago, and these ladies have done an incredible job with the program. I think we've become, as competitive as we have ever been in our cheer program, and they've worked extremely hard. But this will be February 9th through February 13th, and we'll leave from the school. It's exactly the same trip as they took last year, and they worked hard. I know they got a lot of fundraising to do, but they've been working on that already. So, any questions about the proposed trip? Yes. Do a little tumble right out. Yes. Come on, this is, hey, everything may hinge on this right here. Yeah, do it. Let's do it.
Ready? Come on, Eagles, let's fight. Go, Blues for national. Go, White. Shepherd arms. Eagles, let's fight. Go, Blues. Go, White. Come on, Eagles, let's fight. Last time. Go, Blues. Go, White. Come on, Eagles, let's fight.
Woo. I don't know how you say no to that right there. So anyways, do y'all have any questions regarding that trip?
Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state trip for New Caney High School cheer? Motion been moved and second. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Congratulations, girls.
Yes.
All right. Item 6 on the agenda is open forum. The board will now hear comments from those persons who have signed up to speak. And we have two. Ms. Martinez, I'll have you go first, but I'm going to read the disclaimer that we have to read every time. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district or employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so at this time. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 5 minutes. Remember, the board may not discuss any issues that are not posted on our agenda. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during this meeting. In addition, the board has adopted complaint policies that are designed to secure at the lowest administrative level a prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns. The policies are available on the district website at www.newcaneyisd.org.
Okay.
And ready when you are.
All right, so first off, as always, I'm speaking as a parent. There's a couple of things that I'm going to try to get through in this 5 minutes. First and foremost, I do want to recognize the school board for what you guys have done for the district. I think that's very important. But I also want to emphasize the importance of the fact that the school board is nonpartisan. And the reason I'm making that statement is just because of the mere fact that in our Facebook, it has been noted that the only people who want to double down on it's a nonprofit race are the people in the political minority. Voters deserve to know that a candidate aligns with his or her values. I think that is important, but when you're sitting on this school board, it is nonpartisan for all of the people in this room, although we don't have a lot, but for your 18,000 students and their parents. The other thing that I actually want to mention is that when we look at our TEA accountability scores, it is very important that we continue to move forward, but it's also very important that we just don't give the global picture. And I actually took the time to break those numbers down. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I definitely want to recognize Dr. Sladen for moving Porter High School from an Porter Elementary, from an F rating to a B rating. That was quite significant move from 2017, 2018 to this past year. And we have recognized those schools that have made the A's. And one of the things that we keep saying is that at least we're still in the B range when it comes to the rating of Porter High to New Caney ISD. For whatever reason, Porter High School's on my mind. So I think that's important, but I also think that we still need to know that we still need to work. Because yes, our district overall did remain a B, but it basically went from being an 85 to an 84, definitely great from being a C at a 76. So I think sometimes parents don't see the real picture because they only take the sound bites that they're given. The other thing that I also think is very important, I know they had the discussion on September the 19th, when it comes to actually looking at the secondary schools, we're thinking about the possibility of going from 9 periods to 7 periods. And one of the things that came up was dealing with if a student were to fail a class, then they would have to repeat that class. So a person could be in English 1, and then they would move on to English 2, but they still have to do English 1. And there was a concern of them losing time. Well, they do that right now anyway. So what they have is a credit recovery period. So if a person does fail English 1, they'll be recovering part of English 1, going into English 2. They'll be taking both of those courses at the same time. But the district has already made it doable from those leaders that you have selected and your counselors to where these students stay on time to graduate on time. So it's not like it was when we were back in school many years ago. You flunked the English, you have to retake English all over, and then the next year you go into English 2. So all of that has been modified, and it's actually modified with the current 9 periods, and that would still be the case with 7 periods. So I think that's important information that needs to be known. The last thing that I want to say that I think is important from the standpoint I did see where there's a consideration of the Guardian program versus the Guardian program. There are actually 2 programs out there. There's the Guardian program and there's the martial law program. And I think that the school board should take that martial law program into consideration because when you allow almost anyone to have a gun in the school, which I think to a certain degree is how you can look at the Guardian program. And let me state it this way. The Guardian program requires fewer hours of training, and it is actually like outside the state's regulatory purview. It allows anyone designated by the school board to carry on campus, and the training is determined by the board. Whereas the martial law program requires 80 hours of training. It requires a psychological exam, and it has to be renewed every 2 hours. That is actually ran by the Texas Commission in Law Enforcement. They're the ones who oversee that program. I don't know the cost between the 2 programs, but I do believe that it's more important to actually have something to where we can ensure that the state is making sure that the people that are in our classrooms, if we're going to go down this road of carrying guns, that they actually have those 80 hours of training and that they are having those psychological exams. On this one, I'm going to turn around. There are not that many people in this room who looks like me or the majority of the students in the school district. So the only thing I want to say is you need to have that psychological exam without you thinking my life is in danger. I know that's my 5 minutes.
Up next is Ms. Grants.
Hey guys, Let me bring this back up. As some of y'all know, I'm Jennifer Grins. Y'all have dealt with me multiple times. At the last board meeting, y'all mentioned the Guardian program. I wanted to find out why y'all chose the Guardian program over the Marshall program, which I have already talked to Mr. Calvert about. With the individuals being carrying the weapons, will they be concealed or not? And I know y'all can't answer this, but I know y'all will probably discuss it at the end of the meeting. How will you keep, concealed or not, or even locked up in the school or in a classroom in approved gun safe or weapon safe? How will you keep students from taking the weapons, especially during altercations? I know this last week we had an issue at Porter High. Have you also considered non-lethal options such as tasers? And hopefully you will outline the program so that all parents can understand. I also would hope that the district will use a certified instructor that has no affiliation with the district or family member of the district to handle the training and the CTE for this program. I think it will be a good program if implemented correctly. Also, I wanted to congratulate Beth and Ty on getting reelected. Thank you.
All right, item 7 on the agenda is closed meeting. The board will now meet in closed meeting under the authority of Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of personnel matters, Government Code 551.071 for attorney consultation, and Government Code 551.072 for deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Any action as a result of the closed session discussion will take place after the board reconvenes in open meeting. The time is 6:31 p.m. The board ended its closed meeting at 7:58 and will now reconvene in open session. Item 8 on the agenda is reports and proposals by board members. Ms. Crippen.
It was very great. Mrs. Pearson discussed different options for student teachers to help with our recruitment. Mrs. Gates also discussed surrounding district pay comparisons for certain child nutrition employees and custodial employees. It was the consensus of our committee to move forward with the $1 per hour pay increase for those employees, and that is going to be part of the compensation plan that's being presented tonight. Mrs. Gates also presented the committee with language that we will be shown tonight regarding the eligibility criteria for the one-time stipend. Employees must be in good standing with the district to receive the stipend. There was also a discussion on whether the district should continue or modify the early exit incentive program or move to something a little different that would help retain highly qualified employees by paying some of their unused sick leave upon retirement. And we are currently being audited for the fiscal year ending in 2022. The results should be available no later than January of 23. And the district will assign fund balance in this report in order to fund the one-time pays for the current year. For fiscal year 22-23, enrollment is up, which has positively impacted our state funding. And we begin a brief discussion of the budget planning for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Our next meeting will be in February, and our committee will establish the budget priorities for that next calendar year, like we do every February for the next year. And also on board reports, I'd like to congratulate Ben's branch on a great showing at UIL, as well as all of the students and schools that participated in that.
Thank you very much. Any of the reports? Item 9 on the agenda is superintendent report presented by Mr. Calvert.
Sir, I'd like to ask Kate to share some information with us tonight about that retirement incentive program that's for this discussion.
Just want to kind of give you an overview of what was presented to the Finance Committee regarding a possible action item that will be presented in December for your consideration. So what we're looking at basically is several years ago, the district moved in a direction to implement what is referred to as the early exit incentive. And at the time, with the teacher market and the hiring, the way that it was going, it really helped the district to know early on, between January and March, whenever a teacher or any employee was going to be leaving the district, so we could work to try to replace that position.
As you know, with the Great Resignation that has, moved into the market, we are experiencing a teacher shortage, not only here in, the state of Texas, but nationally. And so we're really looking to see what can we do to incentivize our employees to stay in New Caney ISD rather than incentivizing them to leave New Caney ISD. So we looked at the data. We spent approximately $300,000, for instance, last year in payouts with the early exit incentive. So looking at how we could possibly repurpose those funds to, again, incentivize our employees to stay in New Caney. So just some other data to share with you. For instance, last year, after that March 4th cutoff date, we still saw over 100 teachers that left and resigned after the cutoff date. So that was a pretty clear indication that even though we are incentivizing a resignation, we are not necessarily seeing employees still stay in the district after that date, which was what the original intent was. And so we decided to take a look at our DEC local policy, and that's the revision that you'll see presented next month for action, and trying to find out how can we encourage our employees to not only come to work, save their days, but then upon retirement, and that would be part of the policy recommendation, that is, if our employees are filing for retirement with TRS, the teacher retirement system, then we could incentivize their unused leave balances. And so looking at local days versus state days, some different options, and not just for our professional employees, but also for our auxiliary and paraprofessional categories of employees as well, so that the longer that they've been in the district, there's an incentive there to pay them at a cap. Obviously we'll have to cap the number of days that they're eligible to be paid. For instance, you don't want to see an employee come to New Caney and bring in a lot of days and then New Caney be responsible for having to disperse the funds for those days that they've accrued somewhere else. So how can we cap those days and then also find a rate looking at how many are eligible for retirement, still working through some of those specific numbers that we'd like to present in December in terms of what would be a fair incentive to our employees to encourage them to save those days and then possibly be able to incentivize the use of cashing those in upon retirement. Any questions? All right.
I really appreciate you bringing this forward, and I think that what I like most about it is how it equitably treats all of the staff members, from the auxiliary employees all the way up to central office employees, and not putting our teachers in a position where they have to choose to burn leave and leave their kids unaccounted for on those days. So thank you for looking at those funds to see what we could do.
Yes, ma'am. You're welcome.
Item 10 on the agenda is consent calendar, consisting of consideration of minutes, consideration of finance reports, consideration of purchasing reports, and consideration of personnel reports. Are there any questions or further discussion? Is there a motion?
Second.
The motion is moved and second. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Item 11 on the agenda is consideration of revision of 2022-2023 compensation plan presented by Christy Gates.
Okay, so the comp plan revisions that you have before you are just a few highlights. We're recommending some changes regarding, as was mentioned in the Finance Committee report, some revisions to our custodial pay grade as well as our child nutrition pay grades. And then in addition, just to highlight the recommendation for us to consider incentivizing and paying our student teachers that are spending their time here in New Caney ISD. It's turned into an excellent pipeline for us to recruit teachers from surrounding universities. So those are a few of the highlights, and then of course all of the other revisions are noted there in red. So those are the changes you have in front of you this evening.
Is there a motion to approve the revisions to the 2022-2023 compensation? Motion is moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion is approved. No action will be taken on item 12. And item 13 on the agenda is consent to discuss the approval is to consider the discussion to approval for New Caney ISD Guardian Program, including but not limited to policy approval, resolutions, and the delegation of authority to the administration to complete all necessary steps to enact the programmatic needs and comply with all applicable laws presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. At last month's meeting, we gave you all a report about the Guardian program timeline that we took in researching all the programs available to schools, the reasons why we felt the Guardian was best. And tonight we bring y'all a policy recommendation that we would like y'all to approve so that we can start implementing the program kind of ready at a minimum by next school year, if not before. We're asking for a policy.
And this is a voluntary program, correct?
Yes, sir. This is a voluntary program. We'll be rolling out other information to our staff. There are some requirements that you have to have, such as still handgun license, you have to have qualified range, employees have psychological exams, background check, training regarding weapons retention, all that kind of stuff to make sure our program goes for next school year.
And Mr. Calvert, this is something we've been working on for multiple months, even almost a year now. This is not something that we've just pulled out tonight and decided that we're going to move into this. So this is something we've studied as a board. We've looked at the ins and outs, and we made a decision that's best for New Caney ISD and not what's best for the state.
Correct.
Is that fair?
That's fair. Anytime you have an event like Uvalde, you always take a step back and say, is there anything else we can do to make sure our kids get back home safe, our teachers get back home safe? And so we started talking about this back in June. We had an internal committee with Mr. Trout was on there. We had 3 principals on there. Chief was on there. So we did our due diligence as far as what's available to schools. It feels like this is the best fit. Yeah, annual and ongoing throughout the year. Yes, sir.
Any further questions? Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the revised version of policy CKC as discussed and further authorize and delegate authority to the administration to take all needed steps to complete the programmatic and legal parameters that satisfy all the previously discussed requirements to launch the New Caney Guardian program.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:09.